Hello again, and welcome to Lesson 28, Writing Words to Be, where we will be looking into another spelling choice. And if we think about the word shield, this will be another spelling choice for the long vowel sound E. And there is a rule that goes with it. I before E except after C. And here we have a receipt where we can see the C, and this time it's followed by E-I. So let's take a look at some of the words that use this spelling choice. We'll start by writing the word shield and thinking about the sounds we can hear is our first step. Sh, E, a long vowel sound, D. Okie dokie. Sh. We need S-H-E-I-E is our spelling choice. U is L. D is D. Shield. And now let's think of something that rhymes with shield. And we can see it in this picture. A field. F is our first sound. F with our teeth at the back of our bottom lip. F. So f is F. E, I, E. And then L-D. Field. Our next word is priest, where we need another sound circle at the beginning. P, R, E, st. Different consonants at the end. Pr, P, R, E, I, E, and then S is S and T is T. Shield, field, and priest. And what are we going to do with our sound circles this time? For the word brief, B, R, E, F. With our teeth on our bottom lip, we don't need that one. Let's write our word. B is B, R is R, E is I, E, and F is F, because our teeth were at the back of our bottom lip. And now we think about a word, grief. Very similar to spell. Grief is an emotion when somebody is very sad because someone or a pet has died. Grief. Gr will be G-R, E-I-E, and F at the end is an F. Grief. And we're going to carry on thinking about that word because there's an extra wee something that we need to know. So here's our word and emoji. We can say the word grief, but we might also say grieve or grieves. Like in the sentence, it grieves me to see you so sad. We start the word in the same way. Gr is G-R-E-I-E. But then we have a V. And if there is a V at the end of a word, we add an E. Let's now add an S. Grieves. But if we're writing the word grieving, you'll find that we don't add an E because we drop the E to add I-N-G. Grieve and then ing. And we can do that because V isn't at the end of a word, so we don't need to worry about not having an E. A word that rhymes is thief. And this time we use th, where my teeth are on my tongue at the beginning, and f, where my teeth are at the back of my bottom lip at the end. Thief. T-H-I-E and f, where my teeth are in a different position, will be an F. Thief. And if there was more than one thief, what would we write? Thieves. Again, we have changed the F into a V and we added an E. Thieve. And then suffix S because there was more than one thief. And how about thieving? Where we do exactly the same. We drop the E to add suffix ing. My teeth on my tongue to begin with. And when we get to my teeth are at the back of my bottom lip, but there's vibration to let me know it's a V. Thieving. And as we dot that last I, we can check. Yep, this is okay. I dropped the E before I added suffix ing. Going to add an extra syllable this time. Relief. The ending is spelt in the same way. But let's write that first syllable. Re, and then ul is L before I-E-F. Relief. And we will do exactly the same as we've done with thieves to write relieves. This time, an action for using suffix S. Leaves. Drop the F to add VE and then suffix S. And you've probably guessed what's next. Relieving. If someone gives you a hug, it does a lot for relieving any sadness. And our last word, belief. Very similar to relief, but we begin with B, which is written with the letter B. Belief. And then believes. B-L-E with I-E, V-E, and add suffix S. And the last one, you may well have written it before I get there, believing, where we drop the E and add suffix ing, believing. Okay, and here we have a piece of pizza. So let's get writing. Piece, and then E is I-E, but the S we can hear is written with a C. And we know to say S when we see it, because it's followed by an E. Ease. We can't hear this E, but it's there doing the job of making sure we say S. And if we were to have more than one piece of pizza, we would need pieces. Piece. There, we can see it. And we drop the E to add suffix ES. And that E is now doing two jobs. One of them to make sure we say S when we see the C, and one of them for suffix ES. Pieces. And a word that rhymes with peace would be niece. My sister's daughter, or my brother's. And then E is I-E-C-E. Niece. And if I had more than one, we drop the E from the end of niece and we add E-S. Whoa. Okay, how about, doesn't quite rhyme, but nearly, pierce. It's P-E-I-E-R, and then C-E, pierce. And you might have pierced ears, but to get them, somebody pierces your earlobe. Pierces. 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 We drop the E to add suffix es. And I'm going to add another word. Any idea what it's going to be? Piercing. Piercing. Where again we drop the E before we add suffix ing. And we can see that here. Drop the E to add suffix ing. And our next word is fierce. Rhymes with pierce, and we spell it in the same way once we've got past the f. Fierce. And if I were to see something that was fierce, I think I'd shriek. Sh, r, e, k. And this time we have a K. Shriek, and I'd make a very loud noise. Okay, we'll calm down from our shock. And this time we're back with the word receipt. I've been to a shop and bought 2 litres of milk. Receipt. E and then E. So we have got E twice. Once at the end of a syllable, so we spell it with an E, and once in the middle of a syllable, and we will be spelling it E-I. Think of the rule. I before E except after C when it's E-I. This word has another wee surprise because we write P even though we can't hear it. Receipt. Let's have a go at writing it. R, E for the end of the syllable, E in the middle of a syllable, E-I, and then we have P that we can't hear at all, and T, receipt. Receipt might be your spelling language whilst you build up a muscle memory of this word. And very similar to receipt. So we'll put this one under the picture of the receipt, is the word deceit, where you might mislead somebody or trick them. And deceit doesn't have a P. The T is at the end of the word. So let's write it. D is D, E at the end of a syllable is E, E in the middle of a syllable, E-I. Deceit. And I think we'll put this one over here. We're going to add a different suffix. if you were tricking somebody, you might be told that you were being deceitful. So we'll write our starter word deceit and then add suffix full, which only has one L because it's a suffix at the end of a word. Deceitful. And our last word, we need to have another wee think about our sounds and syllables. E, all. So that first syllable, we'll need a longer line. And then ing, I. There we go. Ng, ng. Ceiling. So the E we can hear after the C is in the first syllable. S with a C. E-I for E. And then ul, ing. Ceiling. And if I look at the ceiling of the room that I'm sitting in, it is flat and white and has a light hanging from it. But some ceilings are really quite beautiful, and here we'll think of Glasgow Cathedral, where the ceiling is beautifully intricate with all of these amazing lines and wee little flowers they look like, all above a wonderful stained glass window. So ceilings in some buildings can be very impressive. And having got to something being impressive, I'm afraid we now have to think about rule breaker words. And our first word is weird. And it's weird because having just learnt that except after C we put E and I, weird has E and I. We, and then the erd is I-er. We, I-erd. Though it is weird when we learn a rule, work hard using it, and then there are a few words that let us know that actually we have to think twice for these. And that gets me to think about 2 pieces of fruit. But you can have either the banana or the apple. And either E is at the beginning and it's written E-I, with my teeth on my tongue, and then E-R at the end. Either. And one more. The word is actually seize. Now, seize can be when you grab something, but it can also be seizing an opportunity. And this young lady looks really keen to seize something that her teacher has been speaking about. Maybe maybe it was who'd like to write the words on the board for everybody to see. Oh, me, miss! She seizes the opportunity. So let's just write sees, and the S you can hear is an S. So two things to think about. Not a C. S is S, E, E, I, and Z is a Z followed by an E. So what can we do to help us out? Well, how about we erd, E, I, ver, C, eyes for spelling languages. You may also, and I have known some learners really keen to do this, have used the finger spelling that we've been learning in strategy word workouts. So let's have a go. We have the word weird. Using letter names, we can finger spell. W, E, I, R, D. Either. E, I, T, H, E, R. And seize the opportunity. S, E, I, Z, E. Enjoy, and thank you for joining me and for working so hard. Well done.